Is Karla with Karla's Clever Crafts. We're going to be working tonight on a door hanger. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make this door hanger. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm a huge fan of the Dollar Tree. And oftentimes they have signs there that I wish I could make a design with, but they're rather on the larger side. And so I got this sign and I wanted to do something with it. I felt like it was too big to do a wreath with. So I decided I was going to make a door hanger and put that in my shop. So I'm going to show you guys tonight how I did this. And we'll go ahead and we'll get started. This is a pretty quick, easy project too. You can see we've got a bow and some florals and stuff here. And I'm going to show you how you can attach all of this without covering up your sign, because I didn't want to cover up the Porch Rules in any part of my sign. So we're going to work on that. Okay, I'm going to lay that to the side, because I'm going to try to mimic that and make the one that I'm making with you guys exactly like it. So I'm going to keep it there for reference. Got a mess on my table. I've been working all day. So, okay, so we're going to need just one piece of mesh. Going to need whatever ribbon that you want to use to make your bow. I'm also going to be using a bow maker for that. Going to need some type of florals. This is, I just used one bundle of florals to make mine. Sorry about that. So I got, my florals are from Temu. The mesh, you can use any kind of mesh that you have on hand. I just suggest that you pick a color that matches your sign. So that's what I've done. I went with this blue because I felt like it really matched that blue very well. Okay, and then of course you need your sign. And then I am also going to use, I have a piece of black felt here that I'm going to use to kind of tidy up the back of the signs, just to make them look nice. You could use any kind of felt. This is actually a thin piece of felt that has a sticker. It's actually a sticker. We're going to peel this back off and then it sticks, it adheres. I'm going to also put some glue under it just for extra security, but we'll talk more about that when we get to that stage, because that will be a little later on. Okay, in order to do our sign and not cover up any of our language or our wording or design, whatever is on the sign you use, we're going to use this. This is actually a yardstake from the Dollar Tree. So what I did was I just popped the sign off of it. I used that on another project. I made a wreath with it. And then I saved these stakes and used them for projects like this. So I'm going to show you how that I use this to make an extension so that I can attach everything up above my sign. We're going to also need, if you want to measure to make sure you get your stick in the middle of the sign, we're going to need something to measure with and something to mark with. Scissors. We're going to need a clip just for a brief moment because we're going to make a cruffle. And then some hot glue. We're going to be using my glue gun. I also, just for extra security, I'm going to use E6000 to make sure everything holds well. And then we're going to need some 26 gauge wire, because we're going to actually make a hanger to attach to it. And we're going to use our wire to do that. Hi, Shannon. Okay. Wire cutters. And then I have a couple pieces of scrap ribbon here because I'm going to use it to keep my tip on my E6000 clean, but you can use whatever, an old washcloth, paper towel, scrap piece of fabric, whatever you have on hand. Okay, and then of course we're going to need something to protect our fingers because we're going to actually be dabbling in that hot glue. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with getting the sign ready here. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to try to peel this sticker off as much as I can. The other one, I wasn't able to get it all the way off, so we'll see. I could use a heat gun and heat this up and make it come off easier. So that's a little tip, even though I'm not doing that. You could like use a heat gun or a blow dryer and just warm it up, this adhesive, and it peels off easier. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut this hanger off because this is not going to serve any purpose for us. We're going to be working up above the sign, so I'm just going to snip these off. Okay. And then I want to find as close as I can, like the center point of my sign. So I'm just going to come here in the middle with my tape measure. And I am going to make myself, let's see, it is, oh, it's a wonky size. It's not quite 9 inches. So I'm going to go just a hair. I'm going to go probably about 4, here's 4.5, probably about 4.25. Let's see. That will be close enough. Okay. And then I'm going to take the stick and just kind of line it up. Now I'm just eyeballing this, so you could measure down here and up here if you want to make it absolutely perfect. But I'm just going to mark me a little spot just so I have an idea of where I want to put the stick. Okay. I am not going to attach this to my sign just yet. I am going to do that after I get my bow attached onto this, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to use the bow maker, and we're actually going to use the bow maker that I'm giving away. This is my bow maker that I've been using for several years now, the Easy Bow Maker. So don't forget, if you're watching this either live or during replay, anytime between now and June 15th, you can comment on the video and your name will be entered into a drawing to win the bow maker. And that, lost my train of thought. Oh, and that applies to, if you comment on 5 different videos, then you would be entered 5 different times. So have multiple chances to get your name entered in the drawing. Okay, so I'm just going to make my cruffle, and I'm only making one because we're just using this for our bow. So I'm just going to roll this in 4 times. It's actually probably hard to see this mesh on this mat. I'm sorry for that. Okay, and then turn it away from me and roll the other side. And then I'm going to leave my curls face up for this and scrunch up the middle. Okay, pinch my 2 sides together, and this is going to be the base of my bow. And the reason that I am using mesh and I am leaving the curls up is because I want this to push my bow up. So it's going to give life to my bow. If that makes sense. So by having this piece of mesh in the back, it's going to push all of my ribbon up and forward. Hi, Lisa. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and build the bow. And I do my mesh piece first. And then I'm using these 2 ribbons. These are both from Sam's Club. This is like a light beige with some type of, it's not necessarily a floral print, but it kind of gives floral vibes. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and dovetail my end like I usually do and pull off a big piece so that I'm not trying to fight with the roll when I'm making my loops. Okay, and then I'm going to start with a 5-inch tail. So just pinch, measure where your 5-inch mark is, and then just pinch your ribbon. Then you need to twist it to put the non-design side up. Okay, push it straight down in, and then I'm just going to pull this tail down, and then I'm just going to make loops, and my loops are going to be at 4 inches. Okay, so there's my first one, and I'm twisting again in the middle, again putting the non-printed side up, so that way when I make my loop, the pretty side stays out. And we're going to do 2 of these loops on each side at 4 inches. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Hi, Cindy. I do have something exciting coming up. I'm hoping to schedule it for around the end of next week. So you guys watch my page because I'm going to probably start dropping hints on that probably tomorrow. I am really excited. Okay, so again, I'm going to cut this off at 5 inches. Okay. It's going to, I'll give you guys one hint because you're watching my video. It's going to be a collaboration with somebody else. So I'm pretty excited. Okay. Kind of like a collaboration. Now I'm going to take my scissors and stick in there just to hold, because this mesh really will push your ribbon up. So I'm just going to use my scissors there for just a second. And I'm going to do this pretty blue next. And I've used various shades of blue. If you noticed in the original design, not everything is the same color as the blue that is in the sign, but it's still all come together pretty nicely. So it's okay to do that. Okay, I'm going to dovetail it. I'm going to do another 5-inch tail. And I may end up trimming these down more, but I'd rather have extra there and then be able to trim it than need more and not have it. Now I'm going to go the opposite way. So I put my first tail in going this way. So I'm going to turn this around. And I'm going to bring this tail off this side. So now I have 2 tails, one on each side. Twist in the middle. Now this ribbon's a little bit harder to tell. You know, just make sure that you're twisting so the underneath of the ribbon is up on this side. And then we're going to make a loop. This loop is going to be probably about 3.5 inches or so. I'm going to come in just about a finger width apart from the one we did on the bottom. And we're just going to do one on each side of the blue. And then I'm just going to cut my tail off again at about 5 inches. Like I said, we're going to end up trimming these anyway once we put this all together. Did you guys like the door hanger? Did you guys see it? Hi, Deanna. Yes. Oh, wait, I said Cindy. It's Sissy. All of ribbons are wired. Okay. And then the mesh that I use is just poly mesh. You could really use any type of mesh that you wanted to do a design like this. You can use any sign, holiday, season, color scheme. This just happened to be a sign that I was at the Dollar Tree and I loved it so much. I bought a bunch of them because I loved it. And it's really too big to make a wreath with. So I decided to turn it into a door hanger instead. Okay. Now I'm going to do one center loop here in the middle. So I'm going to cut this at 7 inches, and I'll probably end up trimming some of it off too. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I did this at 6 inches. And so I'm just folding. Okay, so here's my 6-inch mark. I'm just folding it back and pinching it together to make a loop. So just one little loop in my hand. That's all I'm doing. Make sure that you have enough ribbon here. Cut it longer if you need to be able to catch and hold it all together when you put it down in here. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off. And then I'm going to lay it in just like this with the loop on the one side. And then this little tail that I need to make sure I get caught in my zip tie on this side. And that is it for the bow. Pretty simple little bow, only two different ribbons, not a lot of loops. I forgot to grab my zip ties, but they're handy, thank goodness. Okay, and we're going to need 2 zip ties for the bow. And I'll explain that in just a second. We're going to use the first one to bring our bow all together. So I'm going to just feed it down through here. Now, I will be totally honest with you with the mesh underneath. It makes this step a little bit challenging, trying to hold it all together. So I'm going to try to wrap that zip tie down around there as I go. Say a little prayer, and then try to get this fastened as quickly as I can. Okay. All right, now I'm not going to cinch this down all the way, but I am going tight enough and even leaving my finger in there just so I know that I'm not going to lose my bundle, all this that I've put together. And then I'm going to take the other zip tie and make sure that I have the end that I need to go into just to fasten it facing up or out away from my bow. Okay, so now I'm going to try to gently pull my finger out of there and slide this zip tie in where my finger is. Okay. Fingers out. Okay, and I'm just going to try to get it centered the best that I can. Okay, and now I'm ready. I can go ahead and cinch this down. And what I'm doing is I'm putting a fastener in here so I can use this to zip tie around the board that we're going to attach our bow to. Now let me just get this as tight as I can. And then I'm just going to snip this one off. Be careful not to snip off the one that you have to use to fasten to your board. Okay. So now I'll go ahead and dovetail my couple other ends here. And then I won't do any trimming on the bow until I actually have it on the board and probably attached to the sign. And that'll make sense to you when you see how we do it. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and fluff my bow a little bit. I am going to take these two bottom loops that I did and just spread them out. And then I'm going to try to keep this turquoise blue one loop in the middle of these two loops. You can see that mesh is pushing forward, so it's making it a little bit harder. But if you just keep messing with it, it will turn out really pretty. Okay, and this is our center loop. So we're just going to open that up. And I might have got my center loop a little on the big side, but that's okay. We'll make it work. And then same thing over here. We're just going to open up our loops. And I make that zip tie really tight so that I'm able to really pull on these and make the bow go where the loops go where I want them to. Okay. And then put my tail back down. Make sure that I've got two tails up, two tails down. Okay, so now we're ready to attach it to the board. We're all done with the bow maker for now. Okay, on my board, I actually have two little staples here where I pulled the sign off. I'm going to actually use this and zip tie between these two staples. But if yours doesn't have staples in it, it will still work. And another thing is if your store doesn't have these wooden yard stakes, you can also go to like Lowe's, Home Depot, or somewhere like that sells paint, and paint sticks would also work for this. But honestly, rather than spending money, you can probably find wood around the house that you could use. It doesn't even have to be a stake, just something that you can attach that would come up far enough to let you attach all of your stuff that you want to add without covering up your sign. And again, we just want to pull very tight, make sure that it's good and secure. And then I'm even going to pull on it to make sure that it won't come loose. And I have someone knocking at my door, you guys. I don't know where my husband went, so I'm going to run and take care of this. I'm very sorry. I don't know what's going on with him this evening. Okay. And then I'll be back. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. That was actually our dinner. We ordered Chinese tonight. Okay, so just gonna mess with my bow a little bit more. The next thing I'm gonna do, which I don't know why I keep messing with the bow, because I'm gonna have to keep turning this upside down to show you guys how to do this, or even to do it. So the bow, I'll fiddle with it a lot. Okay, so we need our wire next because we want to go ahead and put a hanger on here before we add in our florals and stuff. I should have gotten my good roll of wire. This one's just such a mess. Okay, so this is probably plenty long. Better to have too much than not enough though. And what I'm gonna do is take my two ends of the wire and line those up. And then I'm going to come underneath of my zip tie. Actually, correction, I'm going to go down this way under the zip tie. Bring my loop down to the size that I want it to be. So probably right about there, probably about 2 inches. And then I'm going to use my thumb to hold this in place, because what I'm going to do is kind of tricky. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I like to make sure everything's good and secure. I'm going to come up over the zip tie and back down under it again on this side. So just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side with the other one. Okay, so now we've got it. We've made sure that this is secure. We've got everything wrapped around this. The next thing that I do is I go underneath the stick with this one and come up on this side right here. Do the same thing with the other one. Go underneath the stick. Oops, it's supposed to go the other way, guys. So this one went down this way. The other one needs to go this way. What we're doing is wrapping it around the stick, and then we'll crisscross it. And we're going to just twist it. And this trick works very well. I've done this tons of times to make my own hangers. Okay, now I'm going to take the ends of this wire. I'm going to go under my zip tie again. And then I'm going to pull this back down. Just fold those wires down. I should have had the glue gun on, because now we want to protect these sharp ends and also just put a little bit of extra insurance here on this. So I'm going to take a piece of my scrap ribbon. Doesn't need to be very big. So probably like about the width of your stick that you're using. And then this will be the first time we're going to use the E6000. So I'm just going to put a strip of it right up through here. And I'm going to put some right around my zip tie. Wipe off my lid. All right, we're going to wait on the glue gun just a few minutes. while we're waiting on that to heat up, I'll flip this around and show you guys what I've done in the back. I haven't covered this one yet because I'm going to use the piece of black felt that I showed you guys to do both of them. But basically, here's what the step we're doing now is we're adding this little piece of ribbon here to secure this. We've got this, and then we're going to attach it to our board. And from there, we'll go ahead and add our florals and stuff. And I actually use these because the florals were trying to hide my sign. And so I actually attached them down here as opposed to in with my bow. So I'll show you guys that if we have to do that. And I basically secured them with the same technique I'm using here, E6000 and glue and a piece of ribbon. Oh yeah, it's already getting warm, probably warm enough. Fairly warm enough. Okay, so now is when we need our little finger protector, because we're going to take this and place it on there, and then we're going to actually use our finger to secure this down and spread this glue out to make sure the piece of fabric attaches and glues down really well. And as you can see, I'm mashing the bow, but that's okay. I didn't get enough hot glue because I don't think it was quite hot enough, so I'm going to add another little dab down here. There we go. Okay, so now that just will set up. And I'm going to come to my sign, position the best that I can. Remember that we don't want our bow. Let me do it this way first to show you guys. We don't want the bow to hide our sign. And we also want to be able to add the florals in, like I did on this one, without hiding our sign. So I'm going to actually leave a little bit of a gap here for our ribbon tails and some florals and stuff to be added in there without hiding the sign. And this is where I said we'll end up trimming some of the tail off. I knew that ahead of time, but I wasn't sure how much I would need to trim off, so I did just cut it a little bit extra long because it's better to be long than short. Hi, Linda. Oh, that's right. That was today. Oh my goodness, Linda, I'm so glad. I am so glad that you are feeling good. That, you know, after my back surgery, I felt the same way. I was shocked. I thought I'd be out of it forever. I'm so glad to hear that. Hi, honey. Okay, so now I'm just going to turn this over. I hope I can show you guys this on the screen because when I did it earlier, I had to have it hanging off the edge of the table. Okay, so I've got my marks there. I kind of know where those are. I'm going to actually measure where my mesh is just touching the tips of my mesh or just touching the top of my sign because I know that that's what I did earlier and that worked very well for me as far as getting my bow up high enough and giving me enough room here to add my stuff. So I'm going to, once again, use the E6000. And actually, I'm going to put it right on the stick. And I'm just going to do a few light little strips down through here. And I don't think it'll take much. I do hate how the E6000 keeps running out. So afraid I'm going to glue my cap on. Okay, and then I'm going to add some hot glue. This should be really hot now. Okay, yeah, I can go ahead and turn that off. Maybe it would be better for me to do it this way so I can show you guys. This is not what I did earlier. This is going to make it harder for me to see my lines, but I'm going to try this. Let's see how I did. That's pretty close. I think my top needs to come over just a little bit. I'm also using my mesh here to kind of help with centering it. Okay. Now what I did earlier, and I'm going to do again, is I'm going to use my glue gun to kind of press down on that. Because I definitely need to give this a little time to set up before we flip it back over, refluff the bow, and then start adding in our flowers. And I used blue for my florals. Afterwards, I thought about it. I probably could have used some white, which would have also looked good. So if you guys have, like, you do the same exact design, that's something to think of, is that maybe adding some white in with your flowers would also look good. You can see that on a beach house. Yeah, Deanna. And you know, they actually had one that was specifically beachy. This one I think is more not necessarily just beachy, but it does have the anchor and the beach themed collars and stuff. But sipping sweet tea, taking a long nap, telling stories, you know, relaxing on your porch, those are all things that could occur anywhere. So that's why I didn't go with beach specific. They have one that says, I think it says beach house rules or something like that. And then it has like very specific beach saying. But my store was out of that one when I went, so I wasn't able to get both of them. But you could definitely do this in a beach theme and add seashells. The possibilities are endless. Another thing that you could do while I'm waiting on this to dry, because I was thinking of it earlier, I just ran out of time. I didn't have time to add any more. But you could continue to cascade flowers like down through here and come down further on your sign if you wanted to, and make this like a more full design, you know, round it out. I thought that would look pretty good. I may play around with that afterwards. But if you did that, then you definitely, you know, to get them to cascade down, you're going to have to do this trick and attach to the actual sign, which you could do because we're going to cover the back, so it wouldn't be seen. Nobody would know how you did that unless they took it apart. Oh my goodness, that wasn't even pressed together, you guys. My bow was pushing up the piece of wood, so be careful of that if you do this trick. Because, yeah, it wasn't even attached. I'm going to have to come under there with some more hot glue. And I'll probably burn myself, so please forgive me if I scream or curse. This is like watching paint dry. You can't see that. So many ideas. No, thank you, Deanna. I try to share my thoughts as I go and things that I think of as I'm doing it and stuff. You can hear the ocean waves. Oh my goodness. I think we're going to be going to Florida in July. So I'm pretty excited about that. The only thing about going to Florida in July is that's when it's so hot. Sometimes my creative brain kicks into gear and I get lots of ideas. Sometimes not. Probably just another minute or two. Now the E6000 that I used won't fully cure for like 24 hours. But the hot glue, the reason I did both is the hot glue will give us a temporary hold so we can go ahead and finish our design. And then I'll just let them sit until tomorrow to set up fully. The other reason I wanted to cover this with felt is because this tip here, this is kind of sharp, and I was concerned about maybe somebody's door getting scratched or something. So that's another reason I'm going to cover this. Okay, I think we're good enough to go ahead and keep on working. All right, so fix the bow again. I'm going to actually see, I don't know about the possibility of pulling this through further, but I'm going to try. I've got that really tight, so I might not be able to. Oh, it moved a little bit. Because I've got my loop here in the middle just a little bit bigger than I prefer. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. I'm going to try to get it just a little further. Okay. That's definitely better. Okay, and I'm just going to trim this extra that I pulled through off. And I definitely want to reflick my bow at this point because I'm going to start adding my flowers, and I want to have everything positioned where I want it in my bow because I'm going to glue in the flowers, and I don't want to glue my bow in a position that I don't want it to lay. I'm going to go ahead and trim this just a little bit, and I might be back to trim it some more. But for now, I know I'm going to trim it a little bit because it's covering my sign. And I'm going to do the same up here because I know I don't want these this long. And just to show you real quickly, I think we do have part of the board, the stick, showing up here too. And we're going to use flowers, which is what I've done here. Flowers and greenery. We'll fill that in so that you don't see none of that. And then here is where I was talking about the space where we would have to be able to add flowers and stuff there to balance it all out. Okay, so let's get a bunch of flowers. Oh, I wonder if I should show you guys how to cover it. Well, I can't do the felt until the flowers are done, so no, that won't work. So I'm just going to lay, this one was a little bit too big. I didn't like the way that it looked, so I ended up not using it. We're just going to use these. And then I took these leaves off of this one so that it wasn't quite so full. Okay, so I know that I started by putting one bunch in between the two beige loops here. And then I like to balance everything. So I did the exact same type of flower. I came to this side I do know that I'm probably going to have to trim these stems a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just sliding them in between the ribbon pieces, and I'll keep it adjusted as I go to make sure I don't mess it up. I need to trim this side down, and this is a slider bush that I'm using. So I'm able to slide everything up and down. Those are my favorite flowers to work with, the sliders. Okay, so like how that looks. This one might be trimmed just a little more. There. So to adjust these, I just slid the sliders back down a little bit. I'm going to fix these again because those flowers are pushing up my loops that I wanted to stay straight across. Okay, and then with this one, I took it all apart. So I used all of these in different places. Even the little roses, you can see like they have even the flowers in this bunch are different colors. So we got a lot of different blues going on, which I think is what makes it all work because we have so many various shades. Okay, and then I put one at the top here. And then one at the bottom. Okay, it goes kind of right in there. And I'm just wrestling around with these stems, trying to, because we've got mesh under there, we've got wire under there, and zip ties. So you just kind of play around with it until you get it in the position that you want. And also remembering that you have to be able to secure it there. So you want something that you can secure to underneath of it. Okay. So these go down here at the bottom. With this rose. I still got quite a bit of our stick showing there. Might have to do some more adjusting. There we go. So we'll have to work with this greenery some more. And then let me look at how I did these. Oh, okay. So actually I needed another one of these because I actually used this whole branch. And here's another one that I cut off of another bush. So actually when I said just one bush, it depends on how many flowers are on your bush. I am using one and then this little section off of a second one. And these are the flowers. Well, I also forgot this stuff, guys. This little piece of greenery goes up here at the top behind this rose. And you can use more greenery or less greenery, however you want. Another thing that I did is I took 2 of the leaves that I pulled off, trying to use up most of everything, so I don't have as much waste. And then I came out of my bow like right here. So on the side. And then same thing over here underneath this little blue loop. I'm going to go ahead and trim this a little more. And I'm also going to pull this out because I want this to kind of come down like that. And I want this greenery to go up underneath of there. And then this flower will sit kind of like that. Okay. I may even end up having to attach these two pieces of greenery somehow. I think I did on the other one too, so they don't hide my sign. Okay. Now with these two, I kind of curled them forward a little bit. Let's see. I want this in the back, so I'm going to curl it this way. And then these are the ones that are attached right here and right here. So I attached them to the board. Now I'm going to flip this over without gluing all this down, but it might fall out, you guys. Before proceeding, if you're making this, glue in all of these before if you do this next step. Okay. They may stay there for me, but I'll be surprised. Okay, so I basically just positioned them about where I wanted them. Let me look at this one and see. Yeah, so right about there. And then I'm going to use my same trick, which we'll just go right ahead and do that. We need a couple pieces of scrap ribbon. We're going to need our E6000. Let's go ahead and heat up the glue gun. It's still a little bit warm. See, that glue starts coming out before you're even ready. Okay, and I'm just going to take a little bit of my glue and run along the stem. I'm going to lay this on this plate. This is the reason I have the plate, is so when that glue runs out, I don't get it everywhere. And again, just a little thin line of your hot glue. Place your ribbon over it and do the same thing. Make sure you use a finger protector so you don't get burned. Okay. And then I'm just going to come over here and do the same thing. And I'm kind of just gauging, I want where these stems start about an inch from the edge. So if you guys are wondering about how I'm measuring where to put it, that's what I'm doing. And then I'll show you when we turn this back over, you can bend the branches and stuff to position the flowers and stuff where you want. So if you don't get it perfect at this stage, that's okay. I do want to get my mesh moved out of the way there, though. I don't want to glue my mesh into this. Okay. We need some more hot glue over here because that is not holding down. Make sure it's turned facing the right way. I can't believe I did all that and none of my flowers fell out. So what I did with the other one, as you can see right now, the flowers that we just attached are coming out to the side. I'm not going to mess with them just yet because I want them to set up and dry first, but I just took them and bent the stems and stuff forward to make them kind of facing forward and framing out around the corners of my signs. And then this is where if you wanted to, like I was telling you, if you wanted to make it so that it cascaded down more, you could use that same trick and just, add as many as you want, make it come out as far as you want. If you wanted it to just come out a little further, you could add more or come down the side. You could use greenery, whatever you want to do. The only limit is your imagination. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do, because I want this to finish drying before I mess with it, and I also have to glue these other flowers in. Is that attached right? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do the back with this one, with the piece of felt, because it's good and dry. Okay, so I am going to use this whole piece. This is I think it's 8 by 11, 8 by 10. That's 8 by 11 and a half. So the same as a sheet of paper, I guess. I'm just going to fold it in half long ways. This doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to try, we want to be as neat as we can, because this is what's going to clean up the back of this. And then I'm just going to cut it right along my seam. Now you could use a whole sheet on there, but I'm going to make one sheet, do 2 projects. So I think that's going to be fine. This is going to still be showing a little bit, but I think it's okay. But you could use more of it and cover the whole thing. Okay. I'm going to use hot glue for this again, but this is the type of felt. It's like a sticker. So I'm going to peel this off. Now I don't trust the sticker to hold a permanent hold or on somebody's front door. So that's the reason I'm going to add the glue. And I'm actually going to also, when I add the glue, I'm going to run right down this stick on both sides, just to make it extra sure that it doesn't pop off. Okay, and then to attach my piece of felt, I'm just going to do like 3 little strips. And I probably did my strips too wide. I do want to make sure I cover this tip. Stuck my finger in the glue. I have a glue pot here too. I don't know if you guys have noticed that in watching me. I use a Sure Bonder glue pot sometimes when I'm doing florals, and I can just dip the stems in them. But I also use it to keep my glue gun sitting over top, so when the glue drips, I don't lose that glue. It doesn't get wasted. Okay, and that's it, you guys. Now we have a really pretty door hanger. What do you guys think of this? Good ideas? Anybody go try it? You have plenty of flowers, giving you ideas, changing the welcome sign that you have from the Dollar Tree. Oh yeah, great idea. I'm a huge fan of the Dollar Tree. I love their signs, especially. I usually have a stock, and I also love the wreath frames that they come out with, like all the different designs. Those are really cool. But I've been wanting to do something like this for a while, because I always love, and they have the rectangle shaped signs too, that they almost look like what are they called? The ones that you lean up next to your door, except they're really too small for that. And I think those would be also great to do something like this with. Okay, you guys. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me. I hope you liked it. I hope somebody will at least try it. You guys let me know if you do. And I'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget to check my page. I'm going to start putting hints about the event that I hope to do towards the end of next week. Peel and stick felt. You've never seen it. Yes. Actually, I discovered it on Amazon. So, and then I bought a pack. I don't remember how many sheets I got in the pack. So yeah, you can definitely check Amazon and you can find it. It's pretty cool. I really like it. And it's thin. It's not, it's not a thick felt. It's a real thin sheet. So it works great for projects like this. It's like contact paper or shelf paper. Yep, that's true. Thank you, Deanna. Hi, Emma. Let me see. These comments are not showing for me. I'm going to click on them and see. You're going to try it. That's awesome. If you feel comfortable, send me a picture. You can always send it to me in my messages if you don't want to put it in my comments or directly on my page. I would love to see it. Okay, ladies, well, you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will be back tomorrow. Is I think Thursday, so I will be live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will see you guys then.